Good evening, folks. Welcome back to the channel. It's great to see you. It always is. I hope you're all doing well. We move on to day 4 over in Switzerland and in Austria. As always, we'll be going through each and every one of these matches that we've got for today. Get your predictions in the comments. Anything I'm going for today will be in the pinned comments. You're more than welcome to take a look at that. Take it if you want, leave it if you must. Choice is yours. It's entirely up to you. But do like the video. Get yourself subscribed to the channel if you're not already. Very close to 3k. We will be there very soon, I imagine. But get yourself involved. We continue to grow each and every day. It would be an honour to welcome you to the squad. And now that's out the way, we'll have a quick recap of yesterday. Did we win? Did we lose? Did we just come close? Most importantly, did we enjoy the matches? I had Joao Fonseca to beat Jakub Mensik, and Jakub Mensik didn't even turn up. It's alright, no damage done. I'll take that. Not too sure he plays in the next round. I'll have to check that out in a minute. But that's all it was from me today. A lot of decent looks, we had loads of decent games. Get yourself involved. Don't be shy, share with the group. And we'll waste no more time. Let's get into business. Let's get it on. It's Valentin Royer and El Shapo. I'll be taking Denis Shapovalov. I think I'd have to lean with the Canadian this one, even if it's ever so slightly. They played each other once before, earlier on in the season. US Open, 3-1 to Denis Shapovalov. I think he gets this one done as well. I think he should be alright for the most part anyway. He looked decent last week over in Stockholm, got to the semi-finals, got beat by Casper Ruud. The game against Marcus Garon, he had his moments. He kinda done a Hugo Humbert. And as you know, he turned up, looked rather shaky in that first set. Did take a tiebreaker, but he ended up dropping it. And then he bageled him in the second, and then it took another tiebreaker in the third. He was a break up, give it right back. Managed to hold his nerve. And I like that from El Shapo, The Denis Shapovalov that I know easily loses them games, so fair play to him. I was happy with that. As for Valentin Royer, it was a somewhat of a routine win against Rafael Collignon, who I will admit, he was in fine form last week. Didn't really manage to make the cut this week, unfortunately. But not only that, Valentin Royer didn't even make it through qualifying. Didn't even get through qualifying yet again. We get another lucky loser who turns up to the main draw and looks fantastic. Looks like he was meant to be here all along. But prior to this, ever since that run that he went on over in Hangzhou, getting to the final, until he ran into Alexander Bublik, he's been kind of struggling since. As a matter of fact, I think the last time he won back-to-back matches would have been qualifying for Shanghai. 1-1 over there. 1-1. Didn't even qualify for Belgium. Lucky loser once again. Turned up, beat Sebastian Baez, and then kind of fell apart against Benjamin Bonzi. And then the same for this. Beats Huesler in qualifying, gets beat by Kamil Masharach, and then takes out Rafael Collignon as the lucky loser. I think Valentin Royer has most definitely come on leaps and bounds over the past few weeks, more so over the past month or two. Do I think he is at El Shapo level? I say El Shapo level, it depends what version we get. We're comparing the two of them on the hardcore, 14-11 for the Canadian, 16-8 for Valentin Royer. Indoors, 9-6 for the Frenchman, 8-1 for the Canadian. I say you pick your poison, you pay your money, you take your choice. El Shapo would be the one for me, given what we know. And then next up is going to be Felix Auger-Aliassime and Marin Cilic. It'd be Felix for me. It kind of have to be Felix. These are no stranger to one another. Head-to-head 3-2 to Marin Cilic. Felix has beat him the last 2 times they played. He did play in Dubai earlier on in the season on the hard court. A set-piece, close game. Felix kind of took over in that third set. 6-4, 3-6, 6-2. And then you're going back to 2022. Marin Cilic did win the first 3, going from 2019 over to 2021. Now you're getting Felix around 1.3. Bit of cash coming in, excuse me, on Marin Cilic. I kind of understand it. I feel like we're kind of just waiting for Felix to hit the wall now, aren't we, with the fitness and what have you. But he just doesn't look like slowing down. He looked fantastic against Gabe Diallo. First set, immaculate. Second one, a lot closer. Was never really in much doubt that he was going to see that one through. As for Marin Cilic, he's on a 3-game winning streak, having to come through qualifying. Look, happy days. He'll be delighted with that. All in straight sets as well. But the first one was Adam Walton in qualifying, and then the other 2 were David Goffin. Goffin squared. You got given David Goffin in qualifying, and then he comes through as a lucky loser, and you get him again. How lucky have you got to be? And it was a tiebreaker and a 7-5. A little bit tougher this time round. I just can't see him beating Felix. Felix, for the most part, looks like the guy to beat at the moment. The form is undeniable. It feels weird going against him. As a matter of fact, it doesn't feel right. You've just got to ride it until the wheels fall off when they're playing like this. 11-2 indoors, 4-1 for Marin Cilic, 25-10 on the hard court for Felix, 3-6 for his opponent. Night and day. Night and day. Like I say, if Felix, if he's got enough left, he gets this one done. He'll turn up, do what he done. If we get what he done against Gabe Diallo, I think this should be a routine win. We may see a tiebreaker, we may see another 7-5 or something. Just food for thought. But at the end of the day, I can't see Felix losing that one. Absolutely not. So we'll crack on with Jamie Munar and Ben Shelton. Kinda leaning a bit towards Jamie Munar in this one, folks. I'm not gonna lie. You don't need me to tell you. Ben Shelton probably should be beating the likes of Jamie Munar, but should he? Should he at this current moment? He's tried twice this year and he's failed both times, miserably as well. First time was in Dallas, indoor hard court, 6-2 and a tiebreak to the Spaniard, and then next time was in Rome on the clay. And look, after Munar beat him on the hard court, we had a weird feeling he was probably going to beat him on the clay. 6-2, 6-1, didn't even stand a chance. Didn't stand a chance. Now he's got him again. And look, Ben Shelton, it's good to see him back to winning ways, especially after that performance in Shanghai. That was absolutely abysmal. Anything but easy against Kamil Masharak. And I don't know if you watched it, but this pretty much should have been Kamil Masharak versus Jamie Munar. He was saving for that match in the tiebreaker. Shatters kecks and then just give it back to Shelley. He ends up winning. And although Ben Shelton he looks a lot better than what he did in Shanghai. I don't think he is 100%. I really don't. But then again, even when Ben Shelton is fit, this is kind of what he does. Just drags these matches out. He still hasn't learned how to break serve, has he? He still can't break serve for shit, and that is always a massive concern at this level. You excel at 50% of the game, but the return is non-existent. I don't know. I think Kamil Masharak may be a bit more of a problem on the hard court when he's on form than Jamie Munar. Just, take it lightly. I'm not saying it with a lot of conviction, but I do believe that to be the case. Jamie Munar looked good in the first round. Remy Batola, straight sets, he probably should be getting that one done. We've been saying all year how good Jamie Munar's been. The improvements he's made on the hard court have been fantastic. Does he go for the hat-trick on this one? 15-11, 4-1 indoors. As for Shelton, 2-1 indoors, 23-9. It's kind of night and day. If Ben Shelton if he hadn't have just had that layoff, he looked alright against Kamil Masharak. He managed to hang in there, but it was a tough one. Very grueling match. It doesn't get much tougher than that. I think I still need to kind of see a little bit more from Ben Shelton just to see how he's holding up in this one. Once again, you're getting him at similar odds, around 1.5. Bit of respect to Jamie Munar in this one today. I kind of expect there's a bit of dough coming in as well. And once again, I kind of expect that. Ben Shelton looked a little bit worse for wear. It's easy for me to sit here and say he should be winning this match with it being on the hard court. We kind of expect him to. He is a lot more suited to the surface, if I'm being honest with you, but he's just been far from convincing. I feel like they're begging you to take that at 1.5. On Betfair as well, it's 1.6. Yeah, concerns. An absolute steal. Perhaps we could be sitting here tomorrow going, oh my god, Shelley at 1.6 was just free. I don't think I could get there. If you're just going to turn up and try and save out Jamie Munar and you've got no return game, I say it all the time, the Spaniard, he puts everything back in play. And he forces you to play tennis. We'll see if Ben Shelton's got what it takes to see that one through. But Jamie Munar, for a set, like I say, he's absolutely bullied him the last 2 times he's played. So maybe he'll go for the 3. Maybe this time it'll be different. Ben Shelton is seeded number 2 after all. But we'll move on. Opelka, Botic van der Sanchel, be a good one. I'm actually looking forward to this one. I don't know why. I've got a weird feeling about it, but I am very interested to see how this one pans out in the end. Head-to-head's one apiece. Van der Sanchel beats him first time over in the Great Ocean Road Open. Where the fuck's that? Australia? Jesus Christ, I must have forgotten about that one. 2021, 2 tiebreakers. And then most recently, it was the other day, Opelka's just beat him in qualifying. That's right. Beat him in qualifying to come through to the main draw. 6-4, 6-4, routine win. And then he turns up against Sebastian Baez, and I was never in any doubt that he was going to win that. That was the easiest one of the first round, in my opinion. 6-3, 6-4, happy days. But I'm not going to kiss your ass for beating Sebastian Baez in the first round. Absolutely not. Opelka on the hard court. It shouldn't have been any question about that. Prior to this, he was in a bit of a skid. He was in the mud. Hadn't won a game since the second round of Cincinnati. That's right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 game losing streak. Comes into Brussels. Very quick courts indoors. And I'm not really that surprised Opelka's winning matches again. I'm not. As is always the case with Opelka, it's the fitness. I'm always concerned how he's going to hold up, because it doesn't matter how good he's looked previously. It could just hit him all of a sudden. And if as soon as a set gets away from him, that's it. The comeback's very rarely on with Opelka, in my opinion. But he dealt with him easily in qualifying. I always say how much can change in a matter of a few days. Look at Marin Cilic and David Goffin. It was a bit tougher. I think the person who lost in qualifying, he's always got more to prove this time round. So I understand it's not just as easy as that. But Van der Sanchel, man, prior to the game against Jiří Lehečka, we were sitting here saying, weren't we, this guy thrives on underdog status. I didn't think he was going to get it done quite as good as what he did against Lehečka yesterday, but he looked fantastic. He really did. Not only that, I think Lehečka looked fucking awful. He looked fucking awful yesterday, he really did. It's just so like Van der Sanchel to turn up as a 2.5-1 dog and pull off the big upset in it. But now this one opened split down the middle, and I could kind of make an argument for either one. But there's been quite a bit of cash coming in on Van der Sanchel at the moment, and I understand it. Like I say, based off the performance against Lehečka, it would make me want to take him against Opelka too, if he can stifle the serve, and then we have to actually play tennis. Why would that version of Van der Sanchel not win? That's the question I keep asking. But it'd be just like this guy. It'd be just like this guy to turn up as a dog against Lehečka and wipe the floor with him. And now he's a slight favourite against Opelka. And I wouldn't be surprised if he turns up as a favourite and puts in an absolute shitter today. Because we've seen him do it quite often. It tends to be what he does. It tends to be the way of Van der Sanchel, does it not? I don't know. Is it the revenge spot? Is the revenge spot on? Is he really playing as good as what he did in the first round, or did Lehečka just allow him to do so? On these quick courts, it's always very difficult for me to look past Opelka or players like Opelka, but all it takes is for that first serve to be stifled, and then that's it. I feel like it's curtains for these big servers. It needs to be near perfect. I say near perfect. He didn't have to do anything against Sebastian Baez, but Baez on the hard court, it's a free hit, isn't it? It's a free hit. Van der Sanchel indoors, you're going to get a lot more out of him from the other side of the net than the likes of a Sebastian Baez. So this one will definitely be tougher. But Opelka for a set, just turn up and just smoke him out, at least for one set. We should be able to get that, maybe. We'll see how he gets on. But it'd be the way I'd be looking at that as a parlay piece. We've got Casper Ruud, Stan Wawrinka. It's going to be a quick one. As you know, the outright still lives and breathes for me with Casper Ruud. Got him to win the quarter. So what that means for those that don't know, he won the first one. I need him to get past Stan Wawrinka. And providing he gets past Stan Wawrinka, I'm going to need him to beat either Jensen Brooksby or Davidovich Fokina in the quarterfinals. And then we're done. And then we're in the money. Happy days. Stick that in your back pocket, take it all the way to the bank. I think I'm in with a good shout at that. Brooksby and Davidovich Fokina just went into the third set now, so we'll see how either one of them look. Who's going to win it? I couldn't tell you. I thought Brooksby had it wrapped up. He dropped the second set. It is what it is. That's the game. But Casper Ruud getting the title in Stockholm last week. Bit concerned. There was a couple of concerns, a couple of question marks surrounding the fitness of Casper Ruud coming into this, but for the most part, he looked like money against Quinton Hallis, and he was always going to. Like we say, Quinton Hallis at the moment, he's not beating anyone. He's not beating anybody. Stan Wawrinka, though, turning up in the Swiss indoors, pulling off the upset against Kekmanovic. We kind of mentioned it, and we kind of said it was very possible, and he only went and done it 6-1 in the tiebreak. That's nuts. That's nuts. I didn't expect that, to say the least, although we did say Kekmanovic is a very beatable opponent. The only thing putting me off, and the only thing I imagine you're putting off on this is, the fairy tale story for Big Stan. Is it going to continue? Because personally, I'm not against it. For the sake of the outright, I kind of need Casper Ruud to win. And I'm going to be wanting them to win. But it may be a bit more difficult. This one may be a bit tougher than the match with Quinton Hallis. These have played each other once before in the Swiss indoors, 2022, and it was quite a routine win for Stan Wawrinka. So, is Casper Ruud entering the danger zone today with the home favourite, the home dog, but rightly the home favourite, possibly? He's a massive dog, 4.5, big dog, big spread. Do we dare to dream with Big Stan today, or does Casper Ruud just send him back home? I don't know. I'd like to think Casper Ruud has got this one in the bag for everyone's sake, well, for my sake anyway. Bit of a selfish pick, but let's say I need him to win. It is what it is. I didn't really plan on him playing Stan Wawrinka in the Swiss indoors. So unfortunately I will have to go against Big Stan, but like I said, I'm not against him turning up and at least doing something in this one. Not against it whatsoever. So I'll wrap this shit up with Taylor Fritz, Hugo Humbert. Look, this would be another quick one as well, I suppose. I mean, Taylor Fritz has just finished up with Valentin Vacheron. Did pull that one back after dropping the first set. Took a tiebreaker in the third, and then a 7-5 in a tiebreaker in the second, rather, and then a 7-5 in the third. Decent game. It's kind of what we expected. I did say, didn't I? I mean, win or lose, said Vacheron on that spread was the way to go. Taylor Fritz, even if he looks a bit somewhat uninspired, we kind of know what we're going to get. Service games just too much. Service games are just too much. There's not a lot you can do against that. You're just going to prolong the inevitable, if anything. Win or lose, you'll prolong the inevitable. You just can't really break him. Hugo Humbert, he looked great against Sebastian Korda. I was a little bit worried about Hugo Humbert as well, how he was going to hold up after getting to the final in Sweden last week. But he looked great against Sebastian Korda. He really didn't struggle whatsoever. 6-3, 6-4, fantastic. He opened up as a favourite, then ended up as a dog, and he still bullied him. It's what we like to see. I think he'll have a decent go against Taylor Fritz as well. I do. I said it, didn't I? I said Korda's going to turn up and just try and smoke it out on the serve. Unfortunately, it didn't work. Taylor Fritz will do the exact same. He'll do the exact same in this one. And, if the season's ending to go off, it'll probably work. It may not be the most entertaining game of tennis, but I think it's down to Hugo Humbert to make this one entertaining. I really do. You could definitely get at Taylor Fritz today. He's a big dog, isn't he? I mean, a 2-1 dog, just over a 2-1 dog for Hugo Humbert on the indoor hard courts. Kind of makes me want to take it, but it's kind of worrying me. 1.3 for Taylor Fritz. I didn't think he looked that convincing against Valentin Vacheron. And like I say, how inspired are you? Are you going to nail yourself on a cross to go deep in this tournament when you've just got a couple of mil from the Saudis? I'm not too sure. I don't like to think like that, but it does come into play, It's mainly money at the end of the day, and especially at this point in the season, you're either playing for the finals or you're already in it, or you've got nothing left. So, I don't know. Is Taylor Fritz good enough to cruise through this match? Does Hugo Humbert really want it? I suppose we'll find out. But I'll kind of be looking at Hugo Humbert to keep this one close on that spread. If you can get 3.5 for the Frenchman, I think I'll be taking that. I think I will take that in a heartbeat, actually. Vienna, Daniel Medvedev, Corentin Moutet, back once again. We've literally just had this one in the final. You could probably go back to the video we done for the final in Kazakhstan the other day and just rewatch that one, because I imagine it's going to be the exact same. Moutet beat him 2-1 in Washington earlier on in the season, and then the other day in the final it was 2-1 again. Very close game, only this time it went the way of Daniel Medvedev. And we've said it, for what feels like months now, but pretty much come the Asian swing, Daniel Medvedev has really come back into form, has he not? He's been fantastic. Winning that title last week. Bit of a tough one against Nuno Bosch, and this is kind of what's swaying me in this one as well. They both went the distance last week, both turned up. And Moutet looked fantastic against Demir Juma. Maybe that's not saying a lot. I did say, didn't I? He should be beating Demir Juma on the hard court, and he absolutely pasted them as well. 6-3 and a bagel. He looks fantastic. Doesn't look like slowing down. Daniel Medvedev on the other hand, we knew he'd beat Nuno Bosch. Kind of had to drag himself through the game. 6-4, dropped the tiebreak, and then 6-2 in the third. Very concerned after he dropped that tiebreak. I thought, here we go. This is where it happens. This is where it starts to sink in. But no. Managed to come out in the third and just pummeled them. Fantastic. Now, I'd love to sit here and say Moutet looks like the fresher player of the two. Because he kind of does. But we've seen it in the final, didn't we? The main difference in this one, as we knew, we were able to identify, it's going to be the power. It's just going to be that power of Daniel Medvedev on these quick courts. Not a lot you can do. Moutet really struggled to hit through Daniel Medvedev. He's going to rely on everything else other than the power. Maybe it sees him through in this one. Maybe it will be down to the fatigue. Maybe this will just come down to the fatigue. And if it's going to come down to who's got more left, like I say, Moutet looks like he's good to go once again. And he beat him in Washington. He nearly beat him in Kazakhstan. They weren't a lot in it. He may just have a bit more to do it again today. He may just have a bit more. 2.6, 2.7 for Moutet. Take him for a set again. You'll probably get the same, similar or maybe better odds for Moutet for a set rather than Medvedev on the money line. It is just food for thought. But we'll move on to Matteo Arnaldi and Alexander Zverev. Zverev. Good old Zverev. Oh no. I've got him on that outright, and I was very worried after that match against Jacob Fairley. Even during the match as well, I was like, no way is this happening. How is he going to hold up for the rest of the tournament? I've got this guy making the semis, really? I'm pretty sure he's going to have to get past either Medvedev or Moutet as well, providing he gets that far. Fuck me. What have I done? I'm hopeful. I've done it now. I'm just going to have to back it and ride with him. But he didn't look that great against Jacob Fairley. He really didn't. Matteo Arnaldi's had to come through qualifying all in straight sets. Jesper de Jong, Tristan Schoolkate. And he looked decent against Alexander Kovacevic. Managed to beat him in straight sets again. Now, providing I get the right Zverev, I would have to assume he's going to beat Matteo Arnaldi as he's done both times they've played head-to-heads 2-0 to Zverev. Both of them have been this year. Acapulco and then Toronto not that long ago. All in three. It's been a tiebreaker in the first set in each. And then Zverev's won the second and third. He's dropped the first set in a tiebreak in both of these to Matteo Arnaldi, and then he's managed to just come back and do them. More of the same. If he drops a set in this, depending on how bad it is, has he got what it takes to come back? I don't know. Zverev does look a bit shaky at the moment. He doesn't look at his best. You can most definitely get at him on these quicker courts as well. You can definitely get at him. It just seems like all you need to do is just blast forehands past him, and he really struggles to get to them at the moment. But it may not get to that point. The serve of Zverev in the quicker conditions, fantastic. Look, 5-2 indoors for the Italian, 1-3 for Zverev's not too great. 11-4 on the surface, 24-9 on the hard court for Zverev. It's night and day. Providing we get the right version of either one. Even if we get, I don't know, I'm not going to say we get prime versions of the two of them, because we're most definitely not going to get that. Zverev's 1.3, sub 1.3. As a bet today, I could not get anywhere near that. Hence why I took them on the outright, because I knew we were going to get shit prices like this. But I'll be honest with you folks, based on what I've seen against Jacob Fairley, disregarding the outright for a moment, I would not be very confident in Zverev today at all. I'm kind of just going to close my eyes and hope for the best on this one. I do need him to win. I'm just not that convinced that he will get it done. So we will move on to Jannik Sinner, Flavio Cobolli. Jannik Sinner, next one. Look, it's got to be Jannik Sinner. For the sake of a bit of respect towards Flavio Cobolli. He turned up as a dog, took out Thomas Mahatch to bang out of form. Thomas Mahatch tie-breaking 6-2. How close do you think he's going to keep this one with Jannik Sinner? You think he covers that spread? Because you got 6.5 games with Daniel Altmaier in yesterday's match, and it didn't mean shit. It didn't mean shit. A bagel and 6-2. More of the same in store for Flavio Cobolli? Possibly. I wouldn't be surprised if Jannik Sinner absolutely demolishes this kid today. Would not be surprised at all, based on the difference in levels, especially when it comes to hard court tennis as well. Sinner's an absolute monster. An absolute monster, you don't need me to tell you. Number 1 seed. One of the best players you've ever seen touch the fucking court. I imagine he destroys Flavio Cobolli today. No doubt about that. Francisco Cerundolo, Alexander Bublik. Oh, it's going to be good. It's going to be so good. The revenge spot for Alexander Bublik in this one. They've played each other once before, back in the Australian Open, the start of the year, and it was a very convincing win for Francisco Cerundolo. We beat him in 3, tiebreak 6-3 and a 6-2. Happy days. Look, I'd be surprised if it's more of the same in this one today, but what I will say is this: that'll do wonders for the confidence of Cerundolo, I would imagine. And he looked great against Alex Michelsen, but Alex Michelsen turning up and getting slapped up by Cerundolo, I don't know, does that mean a lot to me? Does that mean a lot? Kind of just proves how underrated Cerundolo remains on the hard courts, especially in quicker conditions. 6-3, 6-1. What are you going to do against that? Absolutely nothing. Alexander Bublik got past Alejandro Tabilo. We knew he would. Standard, routine win. There was moments, I'd probably go as far to say extended periods of time in that game against Tabilo where that backhand just weren't working. And he was getting really frustrated with it as well in that second set. It just weren't working. He managed to get a grip of it, but it was visible. It was very visible that he was struggling with that. Cerundolo did not struggle with anything. Now, when they first played each other earlier on the season, Alexander Bublik weren't playing anywhere near as good as what he is now. We've touched on this quite a lot since, the form that this guy managed to find since coming off the hard court. It's fucking unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. And he remains in good form as well, doesn't he? He remains in good form for the most part. For the past few months, Alexander Bublik has just been easy money every single time. They go on a 2-game losing streak, to finish off the Asian tour. But now we're back over in Europe. Routine wins on the indoor hard court. To be expected, absolutely. I'd love to know at 1.6. I can see it at 1.6 around barely sub 1.7. That feels very tempting for me. Feels very tempting, but I'm wondering why is he such a big favourite? Is that just to do? It can't just be to do with that head-to-head. It's got to be to do with the performance from Cerundolo. He really did look that good, He looked game. He looked ready to play. Is he going to be able to deal with the big game of Alexander Bublik today? I'm not too sure. Getting past Alex Michelsen's one thing. Taking out Bublik on the indoor courts, I wouldn't be too sure about that. Although if you look at the pair of them on paper this year, 12-8 on the hard court for Cerundolo, 12-10 for Alexander Bublik, 3-3 indoors, 2-1 indoors for the Argentinian. That's right. Obviously the Argentinian's done the majority of the work on the clay, but so is Alexander Bublik, 23-6. I think it's a tough one. I do. I'm starting to convince myself that this one may be a bit close to call, a bit tougher than I would like to admit. So at 1.6, I don't know, maybe they're just begging me to take Alexander Bublik at that. I kind of expect them to be a bit more, but I don't know. How much bigger of a favourite can you be against the previous performance of Cerundolo? I'm not too sure. Bublik does what he does. He might just get this one done. Like I say, it is the revenge spot. I imagine he'll want to right the wrong of the Australian Open. I'd say he looks a bit more lethal on the indoor hard courts. He really does, mainly to do with that serve. That serve's untouchable. The power can't be touched. I would have to side ever so slightly with Alexander Bublik and that. And then we've got Etcheverry and Lorenzo Musetti. I'd have to go with Musetti. Now, I will say this. Musetti has been far from the great Lorenzo that we all know. Lorenzo the Great or whatever. He's the form's been alright. It's been a little bit patchy. Hasn't been going on that many runs as of late, especially over that Asian swing ever since the Chengdu final. 2-1 Beijing, 2-1 Shanghai, 1-1 in Belgium last week. And then he turned up. We did have him on that parlay to beat Stefanos Tsitsipas. I'm pretty sure he would have done that. He had to pull out and he played Medvedev instead. And he still looked good. Turned up, got that one done with relative ease. Etcheverry, he's going to give you more problems from the baseline than the likes of Medvedev. Medvedev just turns up, puts the power on you, blast fucking unforced errors everywhere like there's no tomorrow. And then just hopes he's going to win the game at the moment. Things need to change for Medvedev going into next season, absolutely. But Etcheverry, for the most part, has been really good. He's been very good. A lot of improvements, like we keep saying. Is it going to be enough to take out Lorenzo Musetti? Hard court isn't exactly the strong suit for the pair of them. But Musetti is in the top 10 now. He is in the top 10. He's the top 10 player. He's the 8th player in the world. And you can't just be a top 10 player and only have a game on the clay. You can't. I'm not saying he has, because he hasn't. He's great everywhere. 18-11 on the hard court, 2-1 indoors, 19-4 on the clay. You know what I mean? As for Etcheverry, every other season you would have got out of him on the clay would have been fantastic, apart from this one. He's done more of the damage on the quicker surfaces. So he's a big guy. The baseline game is relentless from Etcheverry. He really does make you play tennis. I just think Lorenzo Musetti is overall a better tennis player than this guy on the day. At 1.3, it's very steep. People are taking it. It's sub 1.3. Most definitely couldn't get there on the money line with Lorenzo Musetti today, but I don't think Etcheverry wins. If anything, I think he may just keep it close. He could keep it close. You wouldn't be surprised to see that one happen. And we'll wrap it up with Berrettini and Cam Norrie. I haven't got much for this. I don't think I've got anything for it. This, to me, is the biggest 50-50 of the day. It is really a coin flip, although the head-to-head would suggest otherwise. 2-0 to Berrettini, 3-1 in the Australian Open this year, and then 2-1 in Queens 4 years ago. Doesn't mean nothing. If Berrettini's fit, if he can remain fit, he looked decent against Popper, and we knew it was going to happen. Either one of them was going to turn up, serve really well, and utilise that big forehand, and that's all he needed to do. Tie-breaking 6-3. Cam Norrie might pose a bit more of a threat than Alexei Popyrin. He looked really good against Andrei Rublev, but we're not surprised. We're not sitting here acting surprised that Rublev turned up as a favourite and shit that one away. Thought he was going to lose in straights, and then he pulled it back, and then he lost anyway. It's the way of the Rublev. What are you going to do? 1.7. 1.7 for Berrettini. And say he is a slight favourite. People fancy a piece of the Italian in this, but then at the moment there's quite a bit of cash coming in on Cam Norrie. I don't even know what made me say it apart in that Rublev one, probably because it was just Rublev. There weren't much coming into this that would suggest Cam Norrie was going to set the world alight over in Vienna, but I had a feeling he could sneak one on Rublev, because pretty much anyone can at the moment. But Berrettini, man, that serve and that forehand is phenomenal. It really is. On the day, it's an absolute nightmare to play against, especially in these quick courts. I don't know how anyone plays against it. Cam Norrie, I don't think he's going to bring as much power as Matteo Berrettini, but I do think he possesses a few more tricks in the bag, you know what I mean? A few more tools in the locker and what have you. He could definitely make this a tough one for Berrettini today. He may just be the fitter player. It's nearly at even money. Depending where you look, it's just below 1.95, 1.98. I don't know. Like I say, some places have got it at 1.7. Some places it's a little bit closer. I do believe this is a coin flip, folks. Either way you want to take this is entirely up to you. Me, I'll be going back to the well with Cam Norrie for just the one set while he's a dog. And I won't overthink it any more than that. Well, very well, folks. That's going to do us once again. Another day in the bag. Appreciate you stopping by. Thanks for watching the show. Like and subscribe before you go. And I'd appreciate that too. Bloody hell, I'm losing my voice. I do apologise, but we're at the end now. It's all good. But I'll be seeing you around. Take it easy. Take care of yourself. Take care of one another. It's always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. Let me know what you're going for. Get yourself involved. Wish you the best of luck, however you decide to go about your day. Enjoy the matches, yeah? Have yourself a good one, folks. I'll see you tomorrow.